Today we're in the gallery. Again, we are close to customers but open for business. And I just want to thank the clients. We actually had a client today, or a few weeks ago, but today we spoke with them. She bought a painting because she said, you know, I wanted something from my life of traveling in my home now that I know I might not be traveling for a while. And we're sending Amy Florence's via Tornabuoni, and she spoke with me today and she said, you know, it's one of those places that my husband and I, we stay on via Tornabuoni when we go to Florence, and who knows when we're going to get back there. So I just wanted to send a shout out to the client, and also we're going to talk a little bit about Amy Florence today. In fact, we're going to talk a lot about Amy Florence because today we're covering the lifestyle and the private life that Ben has painted, or Ben Fenske and his friends are painting. Today we're going to walk over here, and I want to start actually with a very sweet, I don't know if I can, should I take it off the wall or can you get that?
I can get it.
Okay, this is Peaches, it's by Amy Florence, and when we were there in October, and maybe you can do a few shots of our studio visit in October,
yeah.
I had a very strong feeling that this is a painter that's classically trained. She knows how to do what they're teaching at the ateliers, but she's also loosening up and really kind of letting the paint fly and relaxing. And when we asked her the same questions we asked everyone else about Ben Fenske's influence on her, she said that she learned that she could paint anything. Anything could be a painting. And that idea is at odds very much with the atelier subject matter, is usually very narrow. And I understand that because that's what they need to do in order to train the younger artists, but seeing somebody like Amy Florence who is executing these as a daily practice almost. We actually had stacks and stacks of these small still lifes to go through, and we selected I think 15 of them, right? And we've sold probably at least half of them.
Yeah.
So they fly out of here like pancakes. And that's why you might not have seen this one, because we've had probably 4 different paintings in this spot that have sold while we were open. So we wanted to highlight the Peaches. But also I think it's very interesting to see the difference of this very classically refined, finished still life and this looser painting. And I've shown this before, but this is Amy Florence painting the dining table and also the area where Ben is working on a still life. And that still life is this still life, which I think is very cool. And I want to shift over to, I probably want to talk about this. This is probably the most important painting we have in the gallery right now from Ben Fenske's body of work. I'm just going to put our financial thing down here.
Yes.
You don't need to
Good
see
call.
our this is called Clouds Building, and this is one of the things that we also read, that we talked about in the Friends of Ben Fenske, they noticed that he's painting pretty much all day. And on a day where you either don't have a car or the weather's not right, a lot of Ben's paintings are from whatever is in front of him. And this is actually the view from his backyard. And I think it's kind of a spectacular painting. It's got a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And the sky is like, it could be the focal point, you know? I mean, the sky is fabulous, and you feel the wind moving through the valley in Chianti, where he lives. But what I love are these 2 paintings. This one's a little off. These are paintings that Amy Florence did in the front yard. This is actually on the drive, I believe on the drive, right up to the house, which is about a mile long through a vineyard, or a half a mile, I'm not sure. And this is a painting of their house. So Amy Florence made these paintings right on the property. And I love this one. I like the foreshortening. You can see the lines are very accurate. The drawing is very accurate here, but it also gives you a sense of falling down the hill. The color is beautiful, this pale purple in the background, and then the sky having lots of air in this painting. I actually really like this shadow over here to the left. The combination of this shadow and the shadow here keeps me in the painting. This is a really, really wonderful composition and beautifully executed. I love this painting. And this is from their home in the country. And we already covered that was a Tim McGuire painting, but this is a portrait that Amy did of Ben. It's probably done at night. One of the things about their life and their lifestyle is pretty much painting all day and painting each other. Tim McGuire talked about how the fact that they'd work all day in the studio, then they might have a beer, they might paint out in the street, and then at night they'd go home and paint each other's portraits. Ben also mentioned in the Corpo video that he preferred to paint his friends. He felt that there was a lot more to go on, which...
Usually I paint the people that are my friends or the people that are around me, try to get the character of a person or get the effective light on that person. I have a hard time painting people that I don't know. I just like seeing somebody doing a certain thing and I want to capture that. It just feels more real. It doesn't feel fake. It always feels fake if I'm in a studio with special studio lighting and controlled lighting and a professional model. It just doesn't work for me because I like to do something that I feel is more real life. So I just see something and I want to try to recreate that.
Which really alludes to the emotional content, which is another point that Amy made, that she felt that there was a lot of emotional content in his work. And so painting somebody you care about and somebody that is dear to you, it's almost an act of love, the observation of that person and applying paint to a canvas while you're looking at them. You can put the feeling that you have into it. And I think this is a really beautiful, almost abstract composition. Again, I would say that the abstract breaking up of the background, instead of focusing on one area, this is a whole painting. And yes, it's sketchy, but it was probably one night. You don't need to fill in all the gaps. I think it looks and feels like Ben. And there's just a hint of the beer bottle in his hand, and I think it's very accurate and very, very beautiful depiction. Interesting light too. You rarely see a portrait with the light coming from directly above. It's an unnatural light too. I like the ground actually. The combination of these neutral ochres and browns against a blue ground is a really wonderful choice as far as the overall aesthetic experience, which in the end is what I'm interested in as an art dealer. It's, if you got that bottle just perfect, but the overall painting wasn't interesting, I'm not that interested. So accuracy on the way to an overall aesthetic experience is what I like to, which is what I know I respond to. So there's two other interiors of their home. This is probably one of my favorites. This is Ben's kitchen, her interior of the kitchen. And this one is done, I like it because of the primary colors. You've got the white, the red, the blue, and in this one there's a yellow ground, which I think is probably just the natural color of the wood underneath, I'm not sure. But I like that she's using some color theory to keep this interior, which is again unnatural light. This is not daylight. You can see the window is black.
And there's Ben, that's the same room.
And here's Ben's painting of the same subject from a different perspective. She's standing over by the stove. I've been there, so that's what I know. Maybe you have pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But here he's standing at the door, pretty much here, looking out. And this is the brightness of the green and sunlit day coming in. And I love both of these, and I love them together. So then here's one other interior of their life. This looks like the master bedroom or the bedroom. And I really love this picture. I love the choices she's making. We all know these curtains don't look actually like that, but if you squint your eyes, it's gonna look really true to nature. So accuracy to the visual rather than to the touchable is one of the things that this impressionist influence that Ben is working on everyone is you're being true to the way you're seeing it, not to what you think it is. And I really like that. And I just love the colors of light in the background on the gray wall, the sunlight coming in. We all know what that feels like. It also reminds me a little bit of that Sargent of the Unmade Bed, one of my favorite little paintings of his. And so again, this is an intimate portrait that Kelly Carmody did of Victor. I think we talked about it before. But again, this just shows you these guys are from Ben's influence. Anything can be a painting, and you should be painting all day long when you see something you care about. And that's also my advice for any artists that are trying to get represented by a gallery. A lot of people say, well, what's selling? Even the artists that are here. And the truth is, if you paint what you care about, it comes out in the painting. I have almost an animist philosophy about this. And so those paintings are successful, even if they're not perfect, because of what you're putting in and the way you're responding to your subject. And that's actually what Ben said. I respond much more to people I know.